This is NLP, woman.
I'll learn from the best.
It ain't.
Yeah, this is called in Flemish having a cookie from your own dough.
Yeah. On the other hand, having these artifacts lying around is a kind of messy. So if you want to start the next project, it's still there as a ballast, something like that hinders you. So no, I think practically it's better not to do it. But what's happening in the mind is not always the same thing as the thing you should be doing.
Now, we're discussing this here for you to show you how it can be done without getting into an argument, without hurting each other. You just mentioned that you hate it when people hurt one another. And I am convinced 99% of the people do not like hurting other people. I really believe that. However, unintentionally, we do it more often than we wish. This is what we're showing you live here, is that how to not hurt each other. And I will give you an example of something that would have caused pain not so long ago before we had the diagnosis.
Okay, I take my stress thing and...
Yes, start. Okay, go ahead. One of the things we bought, we invested in at some point about 2 years ago, was a whole set of tools that are used to work with a horse or a mule to work the land. I don't know the names of these things, and that's where the problem comes. And so we bought these things, and we never used it. As you guessed, never got to the point where we actually had the plow in the ground. So these things, to my idea, can be sold. And I asked this, is it okay if I sell them? Yeah, sure, go ahead. But I don't know what they're called. I can't advertise them because I don't know what they are. Could you give me the names of these different tools in French? And you said yes about 3 months ago. And since then, the topic wasn't on the table anymore, because in the past, if I would have come to it and say, can you please give me the names because I need to sell them? How would you have reacted before?
Offended.
Mm-hmm. Would you feel like...
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like we have these artifacts to avoid doing the same thing, but on the other hand, sometimes these artifacts hurt so much that I don't want to see them anymore. So I walk past by like. So being remembered and pointed at, like, this stuff, and the reason why projects, training horses or working with mules or even dogs, is that there's always this the client, the owner.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. So talking with...
They're the ones who are supposed to pay in the end.
Yeah, right. Doing this stuff and training these animals is very nice, and then there comes a stupid whatever farmer, and then he starts hitting the animal or pulling, and then the horse or the mule pulls the other direction, and they get aggressive and then they start fighting, and when I work with animals, it's for me it's very easy to open a communication channel with an animal. But then you have, yeah. We invested in this material, and I still like to work with these animals, but the problem is that, because what I can teach somebody is how to talk or whisper with the animal on another level than what we normally do between people. And then the animal starts to understand the person who wants to communicate with it. But then they start misusing it for things the animal is not trained or don't have the physics to do it. And then they get frustrated and then wind up again with aggression and whatever. It's emotionally hard to, on one hand, let it go, and on the other hand, to be remembered that things are still there and now have to move because we are emptying the farm. So avoidance, yeah.
But this would have not been possible. That what you're telling me so openly and so courageously wouldn't have been possible before you knew yourself and could be kind to yourself, as in, and explain to me why it is so painful for you, which allows me to go about it more mindful and try and pick the right moment. That is still difficult, finding the right moment to do something. It is not easy for a neurotypical partner to fathom where you are emotionally and mentally. It is going a lot better. We're making tremendous progress in mutual understanding and brain tuning. But I do sometimes still feel a little bit hesitant when addressing stuff that is complicated.
Yeah, but I think with the understanding comes the acceptance. That's a process. I can't say like, oh, now I know I have ADHD, so that's it. No, it's the beginning. It's more like a start
Yep.
than a that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel much more relaxed now, knowing that in a way I'm normal. Somebody who has ADHD is a normal person.
Mm.
While if you don't know what it is that makes you in many situations different from the other one, then you think you're not a normal person. And really, it is me who is the problem. Well, now I know how it works, why it works that way, my brain, I mean. I don't feel like you are pointing a finger at me,
Mm.
at my heart, at there where it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, this doesn't work. And
Uh-huh.
why is it doesn't work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it takes a lot of pressure.
And this goes both ways. I can accidentally thread on something that is still covered and might cause pain or discomfort, but you will not react as, oh, and you did this on purpose and you're judging me. And that is really important, I think.
Everything that could have triggered something like what you are saying is against my uh, personality, is against who I am, is against the real me or something like that. Is gone now because I think like, yeah, it's just like we're doing this in English, but this is not our first language. So sometimes we have to think how to say something, um, but we know why we are not that fluent as we are in our native language. And that's the same thing with the communication we have now. We now know that what you are saying is a different kind of vibration, and it's not something that because I'm wrong, so she's not accusing me from being a difficult person or whatever. It's never this difficult person. It's everything we say now. It's more like our brains are not tuned. Your brain reacts this way or that way, and my brain does this or that. But it's just how this thing in here works, functions, and we don't have to go into. If you go again into the drama triangle, then it's not about accusing the other one. So none, not you, not me, is a prosecutor. I don't feel like a victim. Uh, so we don't have to search for somebody who can help us. And sometimes before the diagnosis, I had this feeling like she was prosecuting me, and I felt like, why are you doing this? I'm giving all I have to get through this, and it's not easy. So I need somebody to help, and there was nobody to help me. So I think like, yeah, okay, the only helper in this situation is to go into defense mode, and so then the stress goes up in both bodies, brains, and then you say like, why is he getting like so defensive? Just have an open conversation. But I feel hurt, and what I reply will hurt her, and then it goes like up and up, or more like down and down and down.
It goes
The
down.
tension goes up, but
Yep,
the situation goes down.
degrades. Yeah, true. So true. The word I'm looking for as I hear you speak is respect. If you know what is difficult for the other person, whoever that is, then you can understand what is difficult for you and how it is when something is difficult. For example, doing a podcast, speaking, addressing your public with your own voice was something really, really hard for you.
Mm.
We're on the beginning of this project. We've done 4 or 5 by now, I think. And you could say for me, it's walking up a step and taking difficulty or doing effort to get it right. But for you, it is huge.
Mm.
It's like climbing onto a very high and steep rock, and it takes a tremendous amount of courage to do this. But if I don't know that, if I think you are like me, as many people do, thinking the other one is like you, which is not, only then if I can let go of this false belief, I can understand that some things are difficult for the other person and other things are difficult for me.
Mm.
That is natural. That is the way things are. And I swear to you, this conversation is not any different, apart from the language, from if we would just be at the dinner table.
Yeah, because being on YouTube is not this is not the first time. We were
Yeah.
I think, at the beginning of YouTube.
Yeah.
Because we're old now and we are how do they call it?
Pioneers?
Granny influencers or something?
Grandfluencers?
Grandfluencers or something?
Something like that.
Because of our age, but we were young in the days YouTube started, and we were one of the, in Europe, one of the first.
We were there really early, yeah.
Yeah.
But without any spoken content.
No, it's not entirely true.
Not entirely true.
No,
Where do you speak?
I did how-tos on survival techniques and making bows and stuff like that.
And you spoke?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm standing behind a table or something, with this cookie in my hands.
Explaining, and it's not in text, it's really speaking. Okay, I forgot about that.
I have to look it up.
Anyways,
and if I find it, I'll put it there.
Anyways, most of the videos are either not spoken or with disguised.
Yeah.
With voice effects on it where nobody would know it was him. Even when I got into the video, you changed my voices. You made me sing in a very high voice.
Yeah, I did.
We didn't resemble my... No, you made lots of things. You had speaking pigs and singing plants and laughing plants and lots of super funny, crazy stuff. Very little spoken content.
Yeah, that's right.
But
or with voiceover. Mm-hmm. Not mine, but voiceover.
A voiceover.
Yeah. I did the how-to, and then we had a voiceover explaining what I was doing.
Yeah.
Also.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about your ADHD partner, but I know mine has incredible ideas, incredible insights, and it used to frustrate me enormously when I would ask him to explain this in public. When you're at ease and when you're feeling safe, you can do these resumes that are absolutely mind-blowing, and I can listen to you for hours. And that's not just because you're my partner, but because you really have interesting stuff to say that I would never have come up with myself. So I take this and I enjoy it, and it enriches, it makes my life richer. But when other people come around, very often you just like you're not the same person.
Yeah, but that's because I have this... When I was a child, I also had this feeling that nobody was listening to me. Because everybody said, like, you're speaking too fast, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're making too much noise, you're bringing in ideas that are not necessary in what we are discussing now and stuff like that. They accuse me all the time of not being to the point, of just like having too much fantasy or being too creative. And I don't know how somebody can be too creative. But in a way, that was what they said.
Did they accuse you of foul play? Foul play?
Yeah, also, yeah. As a very small child, I think I was 5 or 6 or something. And it was just before Christmas time. My parents had bought a Christmas tree. And they didn't have this star-like stuff you have to put on top of a Christmas tree. And I said,
The Star of Bethlehem.
yeah. So I said to them like, I will make something to put on top of it. And my mother said, yeah, okay, go ahead. And I think I think it's a squirrel or something holding a candle.
A squirrel. What else?
Yeah, a squirrel holding a candle. So
there's,
yeah,
there's something with ADHD and squirrels. I don't know where that gets.
so you have this squirrel like, and he was holding like a candle like this.
Uh-huh.
And then this candle has a big flame, a yellow flame. And they said like, yeah, you copied it from a Walt Disney book or something. I said, no, I didn't. I mean, this Walt Disney book I had as my inspiration because at this age I didn't know how to draw a squirrel. And then I tried to prove that I just had drawn it by like, see, it's much bigger than the small picture from the book. And I said, yeah, you found a way to make it bigger and stuff like that. And I was really confused that they didn't want to let it go and just say like, well, even if it was copied, like to say like, this is a nice thing. You're so creative or something. But that never happened. They always said like, be normal. That's more than crazy enough. It was they're saying like, be normal. That's more than crazy enough.
Yeah. Respecting other people is not the kind of thing which happens naturally in our societies. Add to that being neurodivergent makes being respected even harder. Would you agree with me, or would you consider the idea that being neurodivergent, not having been respected as a child by those who actually should have respected you, but for one reason or another weren't capable of doing so, this is without judgment, that's just the way it is, makes you somehow at some point believe that it is because of you that everything goes wrong? And are there observations that you can make or have made in the past that actually prove the opposite? I thereby think about something we have experienced together quite a few years ago when we were still in Belgium, and you bought yourself a motorcycle, a BMW 1100cc big machine. And you actually didn't know how to drive a motorbike before you bought it, which kind of made me worry about the safety of the whole thing. But you entered a course, a driver's course for motorbike riders, and how to avoid accidents and obstacles, and generally how to ride a motorbike safely. And I remember I was with you on this one of the days of these lessons with a lot of other people. And so there was the instructor, who was a hyperactive guy, very speedy, very funny as well.
Streams, they're slowing down to get their sleep. They've had enough bringing life to others. But I still don't know what else to seek but your smile in the morning hours.